farmers on the border with Lesotho are having sleepless nights to protect their stock from cross-border raiders. One of those farmers is Bees van Blerk. Welcome, Bees.
Thank you. Morning.
How often are there cross-border raids from Lesotho?
Well, I'd say at least 2 or 3 nights a month, depending on the weather and the moon, which phase the moon is in, because they do not come really at full moon, but new moon, then the guys are out there. And they cut the fences and they start herding the cattle. I'm fortunate I have sensors on my cattle, motion sensors, which transmit to a tower, and then I'll get a telegram and a missed call. And then I must be out within 5 minutes. I'm with the cattle. And then I'll scare them off. They come back 2 hours later. I'm just back in bed up to 3 times a night. And then they will come 3 nights in succession. They still think they're going to get away with, but they don't hardly ever get away with anything from any of my stock.
Now, before you had sensors on your cattle, what did you have to do to get your cattle back?
Well, the only way you get them back is to cross in. You must count daily, must brand them, and then follow the spoor into Lesotho illegally. We just got to drive through the river and go follow the spoor, go to the nearest huts and get information, and 2 or 3 guys will jump on the back of the bakkie and they'll help you. And you've got to pay them, and then, of course, the culprits will get a phone call and say he's on his way, and they'll leave your cattle somewhere in the mountains. They might slaughter 1 or 2, and that's the only way you get them back. I haven't had any success with reporting it to the police.
Over 20 years, you've reported many cases.
Yes, I've never had any success with the police. I don't know whether they're involved or it's just too much work for them. They don't even answer their phones. You can't get hold of them in the first place.
Before you had sensors, how many cattle did you lose?
Well, in 2012, I lost 37 cattle, which I never got back. And
to the value of?
I'd say back then it was about 10,000 Rand a head.
And sheep? Have you lost sheep as well?
Not, I stopped farming sheep altogether.
Why did you stop?
Because of the theft. I lost 178 pregnant ewes in one night, which I never got one back. And
Good heavens.
Yeah, so you can't farm sheep there at all.
So when you go to get your stock back, are you ever involved in any violent confrontation, or is it quite a simple ritual?
No, not in Lesotho. There's no problem. Getting them back the way we do it, if you follow them and then get them back yourself, it's no simple. They give them back to you and they come back the same route. If you report it to the police, then they've got to get permission to enter Lesotho 3 days later, or they give a guys time enough to get away with the stock or slaughter them. And then you're not allowed to bring them back. Then they've got to stay for a court case. And you never see any of the cattle again. They die in Lesotho or they get slaughtered or whatever. So that's why we follow the spoor and get the cattle, the stock back yourself.
Now, I understand cows are sometimes brought across the border from Lesotho to be mounted by bulls on the Free State side. Is that so?
That's right, yes. And with the end to graze also. They don't, they do bring the cattle in to get covered by our bulls, and which can be very costly for us. We use expensive bulls, and they bring venereal diseases across, and then they're spread into my herd. So we don't tolerate that at all.
What diseases are spread this way?
Contagious abortion is the most common one. And then, of course, they don't inoculate any of their cattle against anthrax or any diseases. So I don't tolerate it at all. We've got to impound, by law, you've got to impound the cattle. Then you've got to keep them for 30 days under quarantine on your farm. You've got to get the state vet to come and take a blood sample and check for diseases. And then you've got to take them to the nearest pound We do not have a state vet and we do not have a pound. Now, the nearest pound is 200 kilometers away from us. So it's impossible for me. I'm not sure how to say this. Everybody knows it. If I find any of their cattle among my cattle, I'll shoot them. I shoot their cattle and they come and fetch their meat.
Have you ever had to shoot? Sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, we shoot. I've shot a lot of cattle, especially bulls. If I find a bull there, because they carry out the diseases, I'll shoot them and I'll leave them there. They come the next morning or during the night and they come and fetch their meat. So
have you ever had to shoot at cattle rustlers?
Yes, often. Yeah, well, I do this on a monthly basis. I've got to. That's the only reason they don't get away with my sheep or my cattle, sorry, or any of my stock. You've got to shoot at them.
Do they come armed or have you ever been shot at?
No, never. No, I've heard that story, but that's mainly if the farmer doesn't do it himself, then his workers will come back and say, no, the reason they couldn't prevent them from stealing is they were shot at. But that's never happened to me.
Tell me who else could be involved in these thefts, apart from people crossing the border from Lesotho?
Well, I've caught the military guys. We've got military chaps. I don't know what you call them. They call them soldiers. I don't call them soldiers, but I've caught them herding my cattle already. And
do you mean members of the South African National Defence Force?
Yes, in uniform. And they couldn't give me a reason what they were doing on the farm and among the cattle. So, there was a court case about it. The one guy said I assaulted him, which I think I did. But, and then, of course, the police. We had a policeman here in Clarence. He was a warrant officer and he was transferred to Paul, and he was arrested there and he left the police now. But he was definitely involved in stock theft and some of the stock theft unit guys as well. They've also arrested some in, Lady Brand, that were involved in stock theft. And I can even go as far to say that the chap from the Hawks, who's also police, told me that they found cattle, stolen stock, on our general's farm in Kwakwa. And
which general, the police general or the military general?
Police general. But of course, he said it was his herd boy. And apparently, they arrested him, but nothing happened about it. So I don't know whether it was his herd boy or whether it was him, but the police are also involved in theft.
What about crops? Have you lost crops?
Yes, crops. Last season, they took just about the whole maize crop. So we just don't plant any.
Who did that?
The Lesotho chaps, so they're hungry. So they send the children in during the day. You can't see them in the mealie fields. And then they just pick the mealies, and then at night they come with donkeys and donkey carts, and they come and fetch the maize. And if you do catch the kids stealing and you report it to the police, they say they're minors, they can't do anything to them. So they got carte blanche. They can just come and take the crops.
So you've given up planting crops. You've given up sheep farming.
That's right.
Have you ever thought of giving up farming altogether because of this?
No. I enjoy living here and I'll stay here. No, they're not going to push me off. I mean, it's a challenge I've got. So I've got the answer with this, the motion sensors. I've got them on the solar panels as well at the cameras. So they don't bother to try and steal my solar panels because they know I'll be there within 5 seconds, and I will definitely retaliate.
What else is getting stolen? Vehicles?
I've only lost one in my time, but the whole of the Free State, Bloemfontein and Bethlehem, Clarence gets stolen. Especially Toyotas, Buckies, and the SUVs, the Fortuners. and they pass by the camera. There are each farm. There is a place where you can get a drift through the into Lesotho. And I don't know. I would, if I had anything to do with it, just get an excavator or something and just dig a trench. But I don't know who's involved there. But the guys get away with the motor theft.
And what about fences? Do you still put up fences, or have you given up on that as well?
I've given up on doing fences. If we use new material, they come and steal that, and the rest they just cut. But even gates, they steal the gate for scrap metal, and the post. If you take, I think it costs you over 100 rand, they might sell it for 10 rand to the scrap metal dealers. So we just don't repair fences anymore. The cat lay out in the road. In fact, it is the provincial administration's fence. They put it up along the toll roads, and they've got to maintain it. Now, I do maintain the fence along the toll roads, because I don't want people to have an accident, kill a child or something. But it's not really my responsibility.
So is it every farmer for himself out there? Can you not rely on the authorities at all to help you?
No, not at all. The Free State Agriculture Union took the Free State government to court, and they lost the case, and then they went to, eventually, they've also gave up. It cost them a fortune. We had a road around Lesotho for patrolling, and we had a fence. But since 98, after the election, the guys came across and they just tore down that fence altogether from Lesotho. Because a lot of the Basotho guys came and voted for can't say the government because we haven't got a government, but they voted for the ANC, and they were issued IDs to come and vote here. Now, most of them have got dual citizenship, and they don't want to be fenced in. They said they're not sheep. So they just came and tore down the fence, and we tried to get the fence re-erected, but they promised to do it, and they never did it.
So essentially, anybody can just walk across the border back and forth?
Yes, I would say just on my farm, I don't allow them to walk on the farm, but if they stick to the roads, I don't mind. But they mustn't walk through my land. I would say just at my place, 500-600 a day. So, and this is
People.
all they just, you just walk through, just drive through, whatever you do. I don't know why we got border posts.
And where are they going to? 500 to 600 people a day?
Oh, they go to Clarence or Freesburg, and then of course all the it's not limited to just the farmers. I lived in Clarence before I went to live on the farm, and in the township, we had about 200-300 people that all worked for us, and we lived in harmony. Now there must be, nobody knows how many people there are, but 30,000-40,000 with their stolen cattle from Lesotho. They walk with their Lesotho blankets, and in all the little towns, Clarence, Freesburg, Klokkelaan, you name it, Vicksburg, and the problem is the infrastructure can't handle all the people, but no one can stop them. Because a while back, before one of the elections, the Department of Home Affairs came out on a Sunday in that big bus of theirs or truck and escorted by all the local police. I stopped the police and I said, what's wrong? Where are you going to? No, they don't know. And then they put up a marquee tent down at the river, played music, and they called the guys from Lesotho and said, who wants IDs? So they issued IDs there and then for them
On the spot?
to come and vote on the election. Yeah, this was in Asime Nyide start. We've got pictures of the truck and that, So
What
now
is the general state? Sorry.
Everybody's got dual citizenship. So you can't really, and they're not being prosecuted. No one's getting prosecuted for stealing or and even the criminals from this side, they'll just run into Lesotho. There's nothing we can do to get them back. We used to go and get them back, hire someone to just arrest them and bring them to the river. But we don't do that anymore because now, if you do it now, then you're in trouble.
You've been a farmer for a very long time there. How have you seen the state of agriculture change in the Free State from when you became a farmer to now?
Well, actually, since '94, when the world markets opened up for the farmers are financially doing much better. But all along the border, there must be, just in our area from Clarence to Fredericksburg, I would say about 20, 30 have farms just lying there vacant because people don't live there anymore. Because of the roads, there's no roads, and also stock theft. And
so those people have just abandoned their farms. They haven't sold them.
A lot of them just abandoned the farms.
Good heavens! Well, but you are unbowed. You are not going to be driven off your land, you say?
No, definitely not. No, I enjoy living here, and up to now, I'm still allowed to do it. And we've got, as you say, you take care of yourself. I've got dogs, I've got electric fences, and I've got alarm systems, and I'm very happy. And actually, you see, because most of the Lesotho guys, are farmers. They are my neighbors. You do get the criminal element. It's not each and every one of them. And I know the king and the prime minister personally, and they are capitalists. They are, you can talk to them. Very intelligent people, wealthy people, and they've got the same problem because, the prime minister has got a couple of farms of Lesotho's got a couple of farms in the Free State. And I saw him at the funeral one day, and he asked me, he said, they're stealing his stock, what must he do? So I said, I introduced him to the company that I'm using. So they got the same problem there.
Well, that was fascinating. Thank you, Farmer Bees van Blerk, talking to us about cattle thefts, cattle raiders, and corruption in agriculture in the Free State. Thank you very much.